Okay, once you have the fillets actually removed from the side of the pike, this is one method to remove Y bones. First of all, starting at the rear end of the fish, you can cut straight down to the skin, turn your knife, and remove this tail portion. And the tail portion really doesn't have any of these Y bones in them. All right, then what I do is you continue to remove portions of the fillet about 3 inches by 3 inches. And we'll just leave those in place there until we're ready to deal with them. But again, also we're basically doing is filleting the fish. At this point, I'm going to take this rear one, and the first thing I'm going to do is remove the rib cage. So just make a nice thin cut. I left one bone in there, get that one yet. You could trim a little bit of this belly fat off. And now you're going to be able to feel the Y bones. They're a little white, and you can feel them, and you can also see them projecting. From a side view, what you could do is you can see that the Y bones, you can feel them right here, and they're going to bend towards the top of the fillet, right in there. Now the problem with this end portion of fillet just before the tail is that the Y bones aren't perfectly formed in this area. So you still have to find them, and basically what I do here typically is cut straight down until you feel them, and then turn the knife, and now you can see the bones actually as they're embedded in the flesh right here. Now there's this little crease that you're going to see in the fillet, and basically you put your knife in that crease, cut down just about 1/4 inch, turn your knife, and you're going to cut, by feeling for the bones, you're going to cut right beneath the bones in the back part of this fillet. So now the Y bones have been removed. This is a perfectly boneless section of fillet. Now we're going to move forward here. Remove the ribs. Trim a little bit of belly fat. Here's the top of the fillet, the dorsal part of the fillet. Okay, the Y bones, you can see them and actually feel them right here. And they're going to bend again towards the top, the dorsal part of the fillet. So you want to get just on the outside of those and cut straight down until you actually hit the bones. Don't cut through the bones, now turn your knife. Now cut along the top of the bones toward the top of the fillet until you get about right there. All right, find that crease once again. That's the other side of these Y bones. Cut down about 1/4 inch, turn your knife, and cut towards the top of the fillet. Typically you can, once you get good at this, you can actually feel the Y bones as you go. Remove them, right like that. These are the Y bones, that's all bone, it's not waste. And here's a perfectly boneless part of the fillet. And with the top one too, you're going to do the same thing. The top one is actually a little bit trickier. When you turn to the side, the Y bones here bend towards the top in 2 directions, both like this and towards the top here. So I'll do this one for you. All right, see those Y bones? That's them right there. You cut straight down until you hit them, turn your knife, and just follow the top of the Y bones. All right, cut right below them right here. Oop, I made a little bit too deep a cut. But that's the Y bones. Again, I've got one more portion to do right here. And these are all nice portions. These are the Y bones right here, all been time to throw away. The ribs are gone. This is what you're left with, nice portions that you can deep fry. You could broil those. You could cut them into smaller portions, into fish fingers. Again, deep fry them or pan fry them. So there's a lot you can do, and this is the pike are just a wonderful tasting fish. You have to do the rest of the other side just like we did here. So start at the tail. Remove that portion, and then I'll tell you what, on this one let's do it just a little bit differently. Let's make bigger sections this time. Again, you're not cutting through the skin. Whoop, I did. Just cut back the other way to remove it. Okay, so now you're just left with bigger portions, but great for broiling. Same process is right here. All right, now there's other ways to do this. I'm going to show you a couple more ways. The first is sort of a zipper-like method. you've got the ribs already removed, the skin is already removed. The tail portion, you're going to come up just about to where the Y bones start, which is about right there, which is about right behind where the rib cage actually ended. And you're going to make a cut right down the middle of this crease, right like that, right there. At that point, all you have to do is pull, and the bottom part of the fillet is going to rip or zip right off, and this is all boneless meat ready to be fried. You can cut it into strips, do whatever you want with it. Now the Y bones are actually all encased in what we have left here. The first thing I can do is cut off this tail portion, which is still boneless fillet. And now I can still feel or see where those Y bones begin. It's a white line right here. And I'm going to cut right along the top of that white line, all the way like this. Not, you know, I can cut down until I feel the bone, turn my knife, and I'm going to show you the length of the Y bones right there. If you open that up, you can literally see them all the way along there. And I can do two things here if I want to. The Y bones run until just about right there, and so I can cut right along the top and remove a perfectly boneless part of loin. And the bigger this fish gets, the handier this part gets when it comes to cooking. This portion, you can also, on smaller fish it's difficult, but you can also find another strip of boneless meat right here. And this gets easier and easier to find as the pike gets bigger. So you can just cut, once again feeling for the Y bones. And I did that rather poorly, but that is the idea. And that last strip is rather difficult to move on small fish. So that's basically the zipper method. Now in this method, we're just going to remove the entire length of the Y bones and leave this entire section whole. So again, the Y bones are running all the way along here, all the way down to here. You can see them and you can feel them. Take the knife and cut all the way along the top of these bones, down to the bones. Then you want to turn the knife as you go. I actually missed right there. To restart just a little bit. Turn the knife and cut towards the top of the fillet. Okay, now cut, you know, find the bottom. That crease once again runs right here. You're going to start your cut to remove the lower part of those bones right there. And this too gets progressively easier the bigger the fish that you have, and progressively more difficult. Now you can just, on these smaller fish. So we can start to remove those bones all the way down the length of the fish. And on a big fish, once again, you can literally just cut and remove them very easily. That's the Y bone section right there. At this point, you can take the skin off, and you've got a pretty nice section of meat that you can broil or bake, put some kind of sauce on, or you could cut it into sections once again if you decide later on. So there's a variety of methods of removing those Y bones. And the pike, once again, is a very tasty fish. It's a very firm fish that works great in chowders and a variety of recipes. Okay, you talked me into showing you one more method for removing the Y bones, and this works especially well, I think, on small fish. And basically, you leave the fish in the round, in the hole like this, not even having gutted, and you get right behind the head, and you cut down until you hit the backbone. Turn your knife, and then cut towards the rear of the fish, staying right along the top of the backbone until you reach the very front of the dorsal fin. Now bring your knife up right in front of the dorsal fin and remove that big portion of meat. We're going to make that boneless in just a second. All right, the tail section, as you've already seen in the other things that we've, or the other methods, you can just remove those. There's not going to be many bones in those at all. And then on smaller fish, it's going to be difficult once again, but there is a section of flesh right in here that if you can peel it off, right down to the ribs, can also be utilized. So I could do that on the other side. Most of this is the waste that comes with the Y bones. Again, when you got a bigger fish, this is a much easier technique to use. However, this is very easy to take off of a small fish. You can either fillet that in half like this. Portion of loin right there. A little bit of bone in this one right here. Remove that. And I'll get that in a second. Boneless, boneless. Boneless, that's boneless. There's another piece on here. Boneless piece of loin. Another boneless piece of loin, except for the top part of the spine right there, which can be removed. And that's another method to remove the Y bones from a pike.